This one I don't even film anymore. It's the original. It stayed small because it's grown. A tree is above it. Didn't know that when I first planted that it would make that big a difference. So that's what this is. There it is. Now I looked over here. I just saw this. This is one of them here. I don't want no more growing everywhere. I won't let them grow everywhere. Cover it up with wood chips. Might come back. Hope not. So I recognize what the leaves look like. That's the one, the original one. There's a rose bush I use to draw my pollinators. Cut way back for the winter. And these are the apple trees. The young ones next to the older ones. Go over here to these here. One gentleman said if the limbs are straight up, you won't get any apples from them that year. And these are straight up because it's a very young tree, but I don't know how true that is. People say a lot of stuff on YouTube, a lot of them. And all the professionals, they say things can't be done this way, it got to be done this way, and you have to have, and they're not realizing that there are a lot of variables to what they're saying. And I've done it because one gentleman told me that you can't plant this tree in clay soil, and another lady said yes, no soil is perfect, and some clay roots can adjust or plants can adjust to that. So they were both what they call master agriculturalists or gardeners, and they were saying the opposite. So I hear that a lot. I hear that absolutely a lot. Them saying the opposite. This will not grow here, or you need to do this and it must be done this way, or I mean along those lines. So I learned to kind of listen at them and take what they say and go, okay, all right, does that make sense? No, it doesn't make sense, because if it don't make sense. Now Paul Goucher, which is a Back to Eden gentleman, I mean I like him because he's not telling you something he heard, he's telling you something he knows. So, and everything he told me, because this ground here, before I covered it with wood chips, I mean, people look at it now. It used to not grow nothing. I mean, I was like a lot of you. I was buying a lot of expensive fertilizer. These people act like these stuff is not expensive. You just listen to some of their videos. They say, yeah, just go get you some sea kelp and go get you a gallon of compost tea and or get you this trace minerals, and when you go online, look up and see what some of that stuff costs. Some of you got good money. That's good, in this economy. But I'm not one of them. I'm a person that's I took nothing and made a lot out of it. I took all this ground and covered it with wood chips, which fertilizes it, which improves the soil, which makes the plants need less water and less work from me in the spring and in the winter and in the summer. So this is because of Paul Goucher. I mean, covering the ground. I thought about what he said. It made all the sense in the world. The forest is covered, and it's covered with dead matter, which is branches and leaves and pieces of bark and everything else that covers the ground. And when I covered this ground started acting different. The soil was just better. And when I saw that, he knew what he was talking about. And all this stuff was growing in my yard last year. And that was the first year I put it down. And everything was growing. And I was surprised. And it was big. And it tasted better. And then when I looked at what I spent, and it was zero. The people dropped it here on the property. That was free. I moved it around. Wait a minute. I did buy 3 gallons of gas for the tractor. Yeah. And then, and I know what, I bought 2 trash cans to move the stuff around because I needed the trash cans anyway. You should see the condition of mine. But I put all this down and put the plants in the ground, and they started, at first they was yellowing a little bit. And I said, uh-oh. I said, that's a lack of nitrogen. And Paul did say, put down a little bit of fish emulsion, which I had a case of it in there that I bought on sale one day. I think they were like 7 cents a bottle. I'll show you the bottles in a second. You ain't gonna believe it. But 7 cents a bottle. And so, long story short, I put this down, and as they started to rot, and I saw the worms, the first thing indicated to me something was different was all the worms were everywhere. And they was all everywhere. I couldn't even put a shovel in the ground without hitting worms. And I said, wait a minute, something's going on here. And then everything started growing, and it started growing in such abundance, it was just everywhere. My potatoes, my tomatoes and cucumbers, everything was taken off. And I said, wait a minute. I gave up on these boxes here. I said, wait a minute, hold up. I'm on to something. Oh, and my trees came in that year. They were so deep green. I mean, perfectly green leaves, and the bugs weren't eating the trees. And I said, something is happening here. And I learned it was the fact that the trees were getting what they needed, and they were stronger. They were saying, I'm ready to grow now. And so, I mean, I'm sold. I'm sold.